You probably won't believe this right now, but one day you're going to look back at the moment that broke you and whisper, "Thank you." I know, that sounds insane, right? Thanking the thing that hurt you? The pain that made you cry in silence, question everything, lose yourself. But here's the thing, what if your pain wasn't a punishment? What if it was the invitation? The moment the universe said, "Hey, it's time. Time to wake up, time to grow, time to become who you were always meant to be." Because sometimes the only way we learn to stand is by first being brought to our knees. And maybe, just maybe, your pain isn't the end of your story. It's the part where everything begins. You know that moment when life hits you so hard, you just sit there, staring at nothing, wondering what the hell happened. Maybe it was the breakup you didn't see coming, the friend who ghosted you after promising forever, the failure that made you question your worth, or that one morning you woke up and just didn't feel like yourself anymore. Yeah, that moment, the one where your chest tightens, where your heart feels too heavy to carry, where every breath feels like work. You try to tell yourself you're fine, you smile in public, you say, "I'm okay." But inside, you're just tired. Tired of pretending, tired of fighting, tired of feeling like you're always almost okay, but never really there. And the worst part, nobody sees it. They see the version of you that's holding it together. They don't see the one crying in the shower or staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., asking why everything hurts so much. You start thinking, maybe this is just who I am now. Maybe I'm meant to carry this pain forever. Funny, isn't it? We survive so much, but healing feels harder than the pain itself, because pain, at least, feels familiar. It's the silence after the fight, the loneliness after the goodbye, the disappointment that keeps whispering, "You're not enough." We start building walls around ourselves, not to keep people out, but to keep ourselves safe. We stop trusting, we stop opening up, we stop dreaming. Every new thing feels like a threat. Every bit of happiness feels temporary, like, why even enjoy it? It'll just fall apart again, right? You start expecting disappointment like it's the weather. You stop being surprised when people leave. You tell yourself, it's fine, I'm used to it, but deep down, you're not. You never get used to pain. You just get better at hiding it. You start confusing numbness with peace and silence with healing. But that's the trap, isn't it? We think if we just stay quiet long enough, the pain will fade. But it doesn't. It just buries itself deeper, waiting for the next moment to remind you it's still there. Sometimes it shows up as anger, other times as exhaustion, or maybe as that constant low hum of sadness you can't explain. You start seeing the world differently. The things that used to make you happy now feel dull. The people you used to love now feel distant. It's like life is still moving, but you're stuck behind a glass wall, watching it all happen without you. And maybe this is the hardest part. You start blaming yourself. You think, if I were stronger, this wouldn't hurt so much. If I were smarter, maybe I wouldn't have let it happen. If I were better, maybe they would have stayed. You replay every mistake like a movie on repeat. Every word you said, every red flag you ignored, every chance you didn't take, and the guilt. Oh, the guilt. It eats you alive, doesn't it? Because pain doesn't just hurt, it changes you. It rewires the way you see love, trust, hope. It whispers things like, don't get too close, don't care too much, don't try again. You start shrinking yourself, not because you want to, but because it feels safer that way. Smaller dreams, smaller hopes, smaller heart. You convince yourself that protecting your peace means isolating yourself. But peace built on fear isn't peace. It's just quiet pain. And in that quiet, something inside you begins to fade. That spark, that light, that version of you who believed things could still be beautiful. You start existing instead of living. You go through the motions, wake up, work, scroll, sleep. Days blur together, nights feel endless, and the question that once whispered in your mind starts screaming, "What's the point?" You tell yourself pain has no meaning, that it's just cruel, random, unfair, that life just hurts some people more than others. But deep down, a small part of you still hopes there has to be a reason, right? Because if not, then what was all this for? Maybe you've even tried to escape it, through distractions, through people, through anything that makes you feel something or nothing. But no matter what you do, pain has this funny way of finding you again, like it's not done teaching you something yet. And that's when the fear kicks in. You start wondering, what if this never ends? What if I'm stuck like this forever? You start bargaining with life. I'll do better. I'll be stronger. Just please make it stop. But life doesn't always answer right away. Sometimes it just watches, quietly, patiently, because maybe, and I know this sounds cruel, but maybe pain is waiting for you to stop running, to turn around and face it. But who wants to do that, right? Who wants to look straight into the thing that broke them? We'd rather hide, distract ourselves, pretend it's not there. But here's the truth nobody likes to admit. The pain doesn't leave until you listen. Until you stop trying to escape it and start asking, what are you trying to show me? And I get it. That sounds impossible when you're still bleeding, because when you're in it, the world feels cold. Everything hurts. Nothing makes sense. You feel like you've lost control of your mind, your emotions, your future, and it's terrifying. You want answers, but all you get is silence. You want healing, but all you feel is emptiness. You keep waiting for that one day you'll wake up and feel normal again. But the day doesn't come, because pain changes your definition of normal. You're not who you were before, and that's the thing nobody warns you about. Healing isn't about going back. It's about becoming someone new, but right now you're still in the dark. You don't see the lesson yet. You don't see the blessing. All you see is the wreckage, and maybe you're sitting in it, wondering if there's any way out. But there is. And it starts the moment you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? You know what's strange? The moment you stop running from pain, it stops chasing you. It doesn't vanish, no. But it changes. It softens. It starts talking to you instead of screaming, because pain, real, deep pain, isn't there to destroy you, it's there to wake you up. I know that sounds cliche, but listen, every time something broke you, it was pointing somewhere. Every heartbreak showed you what love isn't. Every failure revealed what matters more than success. Every loss stripped away what wasn't meant to stay. It's like pain has this brutal honesty about it. It doesn't lie, it doesn't sugarcoat. It just shows you the truth, the kind of truth comfort could never teach, because comfort keeps you asleep. Pain forces you to look at your patterns, your fears, your attachments, the parts of yourself you'd rather never meet. When life feels easy, you don't question much. You assume things will always stay that way, but the moment life falls apart, that's when you start asking real questions. Who am I without this? What do I actually want? What have I been avoiding? And maybe that's the blessing hiding in the chaos. That pain doesn't take things from you. It reveals you. It peels back the layers you built to survive, the masks, the habits, the false stories you told yourself to fit in, to be loved, to be safe. And suddenly, there you are, raw, exposed, human. That's what transformation feels like. Not some glowing, angelic moment of peace, but being stripped down to nothing until you finally meet yourself again. Because that's what pain does. It holds a mirror. And it asks, Do you recognize this person? Most people don't. They've spent so long performing strength that they forgot what real strength looks like. And real strength isn't pretending you're fine. It's saying, I'm not okay, but I'm still here. That's the quiet power pain teaches you. To sit in the storm and not run. To feel every wave and not drown. To lose everything and still whisper, I'll find a way. You see, pain and growth are twins. You can't separate them. They're born from the same moment when who you were no longer fits who you're becoming. Think about it. Why do you think the moments that hurt the most are also the ones that change you the most? Because pain signals transition, the ending of one version of you and the birth of another. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Transformation doesn't happen in light. It happens in darkness, in the nights when you think you've failed, in the silence when nobody's cheering for you, in the moments when everything in you says, I can't do this anymore, and somehow you still do. That's how your soul grows, not through ease, but through endurance, because pain builds something nothing else can. Depth. It teaches empathy, not by theory, but by experience. You start seeing pain in others because you've met it in yourself. You stop judging, you start understanding, and slowly you begin to realize the reason pain stays for so long is because it's shaping something inside you that can't be rushed. Patience, resilience, compassion, wisdom. It's carving out space so one day you can hold more light. You can't fake depth. You can't buy peace. You can only earn them through the fire. And maybe the reason you're still hurting is because you're still becoming. You're still learning the lesson underneath the ache. You're still shedding the version of you that settled for less. Think about every chapter of your life that ended in pain. You never came out the same, did you? Something always shifted. Your boundaries, your voice, your standards. Pain teaches you what you will no longer tolerate. It sharpens your intuition. It teaches you to listen to the quiet parts of your soul that whisper, this isn't right. You begin to trust yourself again, because when everything falls apart, you realize you're the only one who truly stayed. And that realization, that's power. But let's be honest, none of this feels like a blessing when you're still in the middle of it. When the wounds are fresh, when your heart still flinches at memories, you can't see the wisdom yet. You just see loss. You just feel pain. But later, when the dust settles, you look back and realize that needed to happen. You hated it. You resisted it. You begged for it to stop. But looking back, it broke the version of you that wasn't meant to continue. And that's what pain does. It ends illusions. It shows you who's real, what's real, and most importantly, who you really are when everything else is gone. Because pain doesn't just reveal truth, it demands it. It strips away your pride, your masks, your distractions, until all that's left is you. Naked, honest, awake, and that's where healing begins. Not when you fix yourself, but when you finally face yourself. Maybe that's what pain has been trying to say all along. Stop running. Stop hiding. Stop pretending you're unbreakable. Let it hurt, so it can heal. You can't build strength without struggle. You can't know peace without chaos. You can't know love until you've felt loss. That's the paradox of being human. The same pain that breaks your heart expands it. The same fear that freezes you teaches courage. The same endings you mourn create space for beginnings you never imagined. So maybe your pain isn't the enemy. Maybe it's the teacher that loves you enough to push you toward yourself. Because when you come out the other side, you don't just survive. You see that the people who left made room for those who were meant to stay. You see that losing what you thought you needed helped you find what you actually deserved. You see that failure wasn't rejection, it was redirection. And maybe the reason it hurt so bad was because life was pulling you out of something small into something greater. That's the hidden mercy inside the pain. It's not trying to punish you. It's trying to free you. Free you from illusions. Free you from patterns. Free you from the weight of everything that isn't you. But you can't see freedom when you're still clinging to the cage. You have to let the old version of you die, the one who needed validation, the one who thought love had to hurt, the one who believed peace was something to find instead of something to become. And that's the part that breaks you open, the surrender, the letting go, the moment you whisper, "Okay, I'll stop fighting it." That's the moment everything shifts, because pain loses its power the moment you stop resisting it. When you accept it, it transforms. It becomes wisdom, it becomes clarity, it becomes your teacher, your mirror, your guide. And maybe that's the secret most people never learn, that pain doesn't want to stay forever. It just wants to be understood. It happens quietly, not with fireworks, not with a grand revelation, but in small moments, soft, almost invisible ones, like the first morning you wake up and realize it doesn't hurt as much. The ache is still there, but lighter. Your chest feels a bit less heavy. You catch yourself humming to a song again, and it surprises you, like, wait, did I just smile? That's how healing begins, not as a decision, but as a gentle return. A return to yourself, to hope, to life. And it doesn't mean the pain disappears. It means you finally learn how to hold it without breaking. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start whispering, "Maybe this happened for me." At first, you hate that thought. It feels wrong, almost disrespectful to what you've been through. But slowly, the truth unfolds. The pain didn't ruin you. It revealed you. You start seeing patterns you couldn't before. The relationships you chased that mirrored your wounds. The approval you craved because you never gave it to yourself. The dreams you abandoned because someone told you you weren't enough. And one day, you catch it. That tiny moment when you choose differently. You pause before reacting. You walk away from what no longer aligns. You speak up instead of staying silent. That's growth. That's strength. That's the new you being born. Quietly, powerfully, through awareness. You realize healing was never about getting over it. It was about integrating it, letting it shape you, but not define you. You start forgiving, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You start letting go, not to forget, but to make room for something new. And most importantly, you start trusting again, not blindly, but wisely. You understand now that being hurt didn't mean you were foolish. It meant you were human. You loved deeply. You cared sincerely. You showed up with your whole heart. And that's never a weakness. It's courage. The kind that pain tried to take away, but couldn't. Because here's the thing. Pain can break your heart, but it can't touch your soul unless you let it. And once you start healing, you see that even your breaking points had purpose. That heartbreak that shattered you. It taught you to love yourself in the way no one else did. That failure that humiliated you, it stripped away your ego and gave you humility, focus, depth. That loss that left you empty, it made space for gratitude, for meaning, for connection. You start noticing how everything that once felt like punishment was actually preparation. Preparation for a version of you that could handle more, see clearer, love deeper, stand taller. You don't resent the darkness anymore because it made you see light differently. It made you earn your peace, and peace you earn, you never take for granted. You start cherishing quiet mornings, real conversations, people who make you feel safe, moments that don't need to be shared online to matter. Because now you understand the real blessings are rarely loud. They're subtle, they're slow, they're sacred. You begin to look back, and instead of flinching, you feel gratitude. Gratitude for the pain that grew you, for the endings that redirected you, for the loneliness that forced you to meet yourself. It's strange, right? To thank what once destroyed you, but that's when you know you've healed. When the memory doesn't hurt anymore, it humbles you, because you finally see it clearly. Nothing was wasted, not a single tear, not a single sleepless night, not a single breakdown. It was all part of the becoming. You begin to move through life differently now, softer but stronger, more open but wiser. You no longer rush the process because you trust the timing. You no longer chase people because you know alignment can't be forced. You no longer fear endings because you've seen what they make possible. You carry your scars with grace, not shame, because they're proof that you lived and learned. You realize pain wasn't there to punish you. It was there to purify you, to strip away everything false, so only the truth could remain. The truth that you were never broken, just unfolding, that you were never lost, just being guided home, that you were never weak, just being taught how strong love can be when it starts from within. And in that realization, you stop surviving your story and start living it. You look around, and suddenly even the small things feel sacred. The way sunlight falls through the window, the sound of laughter, the warmth of a friend's hand, the peace in your own company. And you think, maybe this is what all that pain was for, to teach me how to see again. Because sometimes pain doesn't change your life by adding something. It changes it by taking away what was blinding you. You become grateful, not just for what you gained, but for what you lost. Because you finally understand what left had to, what stayed matters, and what's coming will fit the version of you fought to become. That's the quiet miracle of transformation, not escaping pain, but being reborn through it. You know what's wild? The very thing you thought would end you is the same thing that shaped you into who you are right now. Think about it. Every scar on your heart has a story. Every ache has a reason. Every wound carried wisdom you didn't have before. And when you look back, you realize none of it was wasted. The pain, the silence, the confusion, it all connected. Not immediately, not obviously, but slowly, quietly, like a constellation you couldn't see until enough time had passed. And that's how healing really works. Not in dramatic revelations, but in quiet understanding. It's that moment you look at your reflection and don't see a broken version of yourself anymore. You see someone who made it. You see the strength in your eyes, the gentleness in your voice, the peace in your breath. You realize you didn't just survive pain, you grew through it, and that's the blessing nobody talks about. That pain doesn't just take, it gives. It gives you clarity, it gives you compassion, it gives you truth, and maybe that's what you were always meant to find, because sometimes life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you need to wake up. It gives you storms to teach you to dance in the rain. It gives you loss to teach you to love what stays. It gives you silence so you can finally hear yourself again. And it gives you pain so you can learn what peace really means. You start realizing that the things that used to break you don't hold the same power anymore. You no longer beg for closure because you've learned to close doors on your own. You no longer chase love because you've learned to love yourself enough to wait for what's real. You no longer fear failure because you understand that failure is just growth in disguise. You no longer run from pain because now you know it's just another form of truth. And truth is always a blessing, even when it burns. So now, when life hurts again, and it will because that's what life does, you'll breathe differently. You'll remember this moment. You'll remember who you became because of it. You'll say, I've been here before and I came out stronger. You'll trust the process, even when you don't understand it. Because now you know pain isn't the enemy of happiness. It's the doorway to it. It strips away what's false so what's real can finally breathe. It humbles you, it refines you, it awakens you, and that awakening is the blessing you were never meant to miss. So when you see someone hurting, don't tell them to just move on. Tell them this: you're not broken, you're becoming, because that's the truth. You're not behind, you're not cursed, you're not weak, you're becoming. And maybe, just maybe, this version of you that pain built is exactly who you were always meant to be. So take a deep breath, feel that, that's your soul, reminding you that you survived what you thought you couldn't. You've outgrown the worst days of your life, and you're still here, and that is a miracle worth being proud of. So don't hide your story. Don't be ashamed of the cracks. There where the light comes through. Someone out there needs your strength, your honesty, your story, because pain connects us. It makes us human, and healing, when shared, becomes hope. So if this message touched you, don't just scroll away. Share it. Let it reach the one who's still in their dark chapter, because maybe you are the reminder they need that pain isn't the end, it's the beginning. And if this resonated with you, if even one part of your heart whispered, "Yeah, I feel that," then stay. Join this space. This place where healing is honest, where pain is seen, and where becoming isn't rushed. Like, share, subscribe, not out of habit, but out of connection. Because the truth is, we're all just trying to make sense of our stories. We're all just trying to find the meaning in the mess. And maybe, just maybe, your pain was never meant to break you. It was meant to bless you, to open your eyes, to return you home to yourself. And if nobody's told you this lately, I'm proud of you for surviving, for healing, for staying, because that's the real miracle. Maybe your pain wasn't a curse after all. Maybe it was the universe's way of whispering, you were meant for more.